Hello beautiful people, how you doing? Welcome back to my channel. It's been a while and I missed you guys, and that is why I brought you guys a beautiful tutorial video today. Without further ado, I'll be walking you guys through how I created this look. And by the way, my model Hosa, she's not new to this channel. She has a very beautiful chocolate skin, so I started up with cleansing our face with micellar cleansing water. I used Garnier Miscellar cleansing water to clean her face. I just poured that on my wife's and using that to clean her face thoroughly. I also make sure I clean the gloss she has on her lips because I want to start on a very clean canvas. I don't want anything on my way. So I then moisturize her face using Bloosom moisturizer. So I'm using the flat skin prep brush to do a skin prep. This brush is very easy to use. It makes skin prep very easy because it has a very wide bristles. And after moisturizer, I prime her face using Rimmel primer. I make sure I massage that into our skin very well so that our skin can absorb it and then there's no white cast. I actually used a lot of it, that's why it's giving white cast, because ordinarily Rimmel primer does not give white cast. After primer, I used Mehron skin prep toner, applying that with a brush on the center of her face or the T-zones of her face to help me control oil and sweat. I allowed that to dry down before going into foundation. So for foundation, I used Mehron foundation. So this same Mehron toner, their brand, I used their foundation, mixing it with MAC foundation, and I've had this foundation for a very long time. So I mixed those two foundations together and I'm blending it with a beauty sponge or a beauty blender as we popularly call it. I also used a concealer brush to apply it on the face before blending. I find that very easy for my foundation application. And yes, I know that this foundation is looking very light on the screen, but guys, don't worry, just watch how I was able to blend it out. It's not easy getting foundation match. There are times you always get it right, and there'll be just this one time that seem like you don't get it right. But as a makeup artist, you should always know how to maneuver your way, and I was able to calm it down. The foundation oxidized, and also contouring technique using darker shade of foundation to contour the corner of her face. So after the foundation, I went in to use a cream blush and I used the Tehila cream blush. So I just used my beauty sponge to apply that directly on her cheeks and I make sure that is really blended out. Guys, at this point I already did a cream contour, but I did that off camera. If you notice now, our face is looking cool. It's not looking as bright as it was before. So just keep watching to see how I was able to put everything together. So now is the time that I get to highlight her face. So for concealer, I used Vee Beauty concealer in. Okay, I'll leave all the details in the description bar. But the concealer is just like 2 shades lighter than her. I did not use a concealer that is too light for her. It's very close to her skin tone. So I use that on the highest point of her face, all the parts that I want to highlight, forehead, just a little on the bridge of her nose. I did not take that all the way down to the tip of her nose because while I'm blending, I know that will transfer, and I don't want her face looking too light. Then under her eye, so I'm not using too much product. I started blending from her chin and then I moved to her forehead. Then I blend the under eye last. I know by then the concealer under her eye would have been tacky so that I can get full coverage and then I'll be able to set immediately. But before setting, I went ahead to put a little bit of lighter shade of concealer. That's Nuban concealer in 043. I used that only on under eye, and that's just on the inner corner of her eye because I just want to bright only that part before going in to set immediately. So for setting, I'm using Nuban setting powder in caramel. to set our under eye, and I'm beginning to love Nuban setting powder since Mehron has told us bye bye. So Nuban has been my go-to now, and I'm using this in caramel to set our under eye. And this setting powder is a oil control setting powder. I love how it helps absorb excess oil on the face. So I use that to set all the highlighted areas before now going in to set the rest of our face with Vee Beauty Powder Palette. Also, I'm using a beauty blender to set the highlighted areas with my setting powder. I like to use a beauty blender because it's soft and I can easily push in the setting powder into the skin. And to set the rest of the face with a compact powder, I'm using a fluffy powder brush to set the rest of our face, a powder with a shade that is very close to our skin tone this time around. I make sure I set everywhere except the under eye. I put in the product everywhere all over our face. And then I went in with a powder blush. So I used a soft, I think I used peach. So it's like a very soft peach, so I don't have too much product, and at the same time just to give a little bit of color to the face, you know how it is to warm up the face. And I dashed a little of that on the tip of her nose. So I went ahead to bake our face off camera, guys, and now I want to draw our eyebrows. So for our eyebrows, I used again Esther brow eyebrow pomade. I used that to outline her brows. I'm just following her natural brows. I'm not doing anything dramatic. She has full eyebrows though. So I'm following her natural eyebrows, and I'm using David's pencil in 03 to fill in slightly in air strokes. So like I said, I'm not doing anything dramatic. Before now going ahead to highlight her brows. So I used the same concealer that I used to highlight. That's the same V Beauty concealer. I used that to highlight our brows so that our brows can pop. But always make sure to use a very flat, either a angled brush or a any kind of brush you're using. Always make sure the brush is very flat and precise to highlight so that you can get your precision well and your highlighting can be very neat. I usually use the same foundation I use for the skin to clean up the tail of the brows, and that will help the tail of the brows to blend well with the skin to avoid that place looking whitish. And I use a very fluffy blending brush to just blend everything in together so that the brows can be neat. And I went ahead to do my signature brows. So this is me just using a black gel liner. I'm just using it to line the bottom of the brows alone. I'm using a very flat angled brush to do this. Guys, if you want to do this, make sure your brush is very flat. So the angled brush I'm using is from the Girls Corner, from their brush sets, and I love to do this because I love the look it gives to the brows. It just makes the eyebrow to stand out. Like I said, it's my signature eyebrows. So for the eyes, I used Benign Clan White as my eyeshadow base. I make sure I blend that really well before going in into any eyeshadow because your eyeshadow base has to be really blended well. If not, your eyeshadow will not sit pretty. Trust me. So for eyeshadow, I used Annie's Beauty Meets the Browns as my transition color. So I'm just building up the browns on a crease. I used the lightest shade there on a crease, and later I went in with another darker or deeper shade of brown on the crease to just deepen the crease. And furthermore, guys, see the black eyeshadow there. I use that on the outer corner. So I used that on the outer V. Now I'm darkening the outer V because I want to smoke that out a little. I smoke that out. I'm using a very tiny brush. The brush I'm using is precise and it's also from the girls corner. So most of the brushes I'm using are from the girls corner. I'm sorry guys, I think I lost the clip of where I did eyeshadow, the main color, but I just used a gold eyeshadow pigment. I used that as a main color, and that's the hairstylist trying to fit the model. That's what we do over here. We feed our model. We don't let our models go hungry. So I just picked another shade of brown there in the eyeshadow palette. I just use that to smudge her under eye. Then I'm dusting off the excess powder I left on her face to help me catch eyeshadow fallout. Before now setting the face. So I used two sprays. This first spray is Kiss Beauty setting spray, and after using the spray, I realized that her face was looking mattified. I just wanted a dewy look, so I went in with another spray from Omaricode. So this is a setting mist, and guys, you can see the difference. Her face is looking dewy, and it has helped me melt the makeup look together. So I prefer how it's looking now. So after setting the face is the lips, which I already lined her lips with a brown lip stain, and I'm filling in with a pinkish nude. So this is just guys, you see how she looks. So I just blended that well together. I blended the nude into the brown. It's actually looking fine matte, but what's a baby girl without gloss? Before applying gloss, I'm giving the hairstylist room to finish up her thing. So right now she's trying to style the hair, and guys, look at that hair. And look at that skin blend. Can you see that everything is looking well put together? And I'm also glossing the lips in section so that I don't ruin the lipstick I've done. I used Fenty lip gloss in 4C on the inner lip, that's on the lower lip, because it's pinkish, and another kind of gloss on the outer part of the lips. So after the gloss, I use the mascara, and mascara is always the last thing I do. So I do mascara even after using my finishing spray because mascara can be messy and I don't want mascara to stain the skin at all. I'm using Zaron lengthening mascara to coat and bottom lashes. She has long natural bottom lashes, so I'm coating that so that that can be very visible. I'm also coating her top lashes and making sure so that it can blend well with the lashes. I don't see any traces of white under her false lashes. Also, if you don't want to use mascara, you can use pencil to tighten the white line. I can show that in my other videos. And guys, tell me if you really do not love this look because I'm loving this look already. Chocolate and caramel. You guys should let me know what you think about this look in the comment section. Hit the like button and also subscribe to this channel. Turn on your notification bell so that you can get notified when I drop my next video. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.